Police won't confirm a newspaper report that Dahmer has confessed to murder and cannibalism.
Square type of guy, you know.
They also said his trail of killings may go back for a decade.
23-year-old Oliver Lacey was identified yesterday, the first of 11 known victims.
Within the past decade, crime has become a big thing, especially within homicide and serial killers.
I just waited it would go down.
Yeah.
Now the problem is they act, regardless of what would have happened. Now, straight away, lots of people think sort of like, they did all this with no remorse. Now, often that's not true. They will go through a period of remorse after. They will feel guilty about what they've done. They will feel anxious about being caught. So they will regret the decision that they made. So Jeffrey Dahmer, in the moments where he actually took somebody's life, he will have probably felt quite calm because he actually thought, well, now I've got this person, to stay with me. However, what he would have also thought is, but I know it's not. They're not staying with me because they chose to. I know they're not staying with me because
in a way,
yeah, they have to because of what I've done. So there will have been some guilt. Now the problem is where this cycle can get particularly problematic is if you think about it, if I act in a certain way that I know I perhaps shouldn't, and then feel guilty about it, what's an easy way to get rid of guilt? Do you know, it's easy it's to act in a way that makes you feel good. So if any of these things make me feel good or make me feel calm, then when I act on them, I might have some guilt, but an easy way to get rid of the guilt is actually think about how great it was the moment I did.
The whole process of getting to that stage, yeah.
And it can start again. So I'll have this transit. The UK is interesting in that, bizarrely, it's like the FBI will tell everybody they invented psychological profiling and investigating. They didn't, it was a British professor called Professor David Cantor. He was one of the first blokes who actually started looking at it this way. He's head of psychology at Huddersfield University now. But one of the things, I think what we've seen in the UK is the police tended to do and I used to be a police officer years ago. If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's a duck. So the police tended to say sort of like, it's there, we've got him for a murder, who cares about how many more they might have done to the next
it's
year.
like that one murder, and it's like later on they'll probably go, oh, we should probably do it because there's a lot in the time span. But for the first maybe couple murders, they're probably not going to be as
you have seen the police do that a few times in the last 10 or 15 years where they will go back and look at somebody once they've been convicted. And actually, they're very proactive in doing it now, especially when they've seen that if somebody offends in a certain way and they catch them for one murder, is they will often have a good look into that person's background, sort of different places.
Who kills more and why? Based on some research on the National Library of Medicine and the study of men, women and murder gender-specific differences in rates of fatal violence and victimization, they state that 77% which involve male victims and 23% female victims, although the overall risk of homicide for women was substantially lower than men. So with the UK ones, there's not actually that many out there that are well known, but there is a couple. So there's people like Dennis Nielsen and the famous couple Fred and Rosemary West. Dennis Nielsen one, he hated the fact that he was gay. It's about 15 to 16, but people are saying there might be a little bit less and they're not exactly sure. And the way that he got founded for what he did is there was a blockage in the draining pipes of his building complex, and when people went to look for it, it was human flesh, of the people he tried to kill or have killed. With Fred and Rosemary West, it's more like a manipulation type thing. So Fred was already killing a bunch of people, and so when he got with Rosemary, she got manipulated by him. With Ted Bundy, I think his was more like he liked to chase, he liked to have people know what he's doing, like hints on what he's doing, but not actually get caught because there's nothing against him and stuff like that.
I have to stop this. I must stop doing this. Yes, when it was going on. After the second time, it seemed like the compulsion to do it was too strong, and I didn't even try to stop it after that.
We can now say that with the American ones and the UK ones, we can say that the American ones are more well known and more out there, and definitely are a lot more.
We'll probably have some. I feel like some of them probably have regret afterwards, not because they like killed someone, but because it has a new chance to bring their life. Maybe some of them have some remorse, but if you're a serial killer, I kind of feel like you kill people for enjoyment.
Based on my research, 1% are psychopaths and 4% are sociopaths, showing that sociopaths is a lot more common as they kill based on random attacks, and that's why they tend to leave evidence based on their upbringing. Feelings to kill in some sense, an urge like many killers describe, whether it's always been there or can they suppress it, and whether it's nature versus nurture, and what is the bigger effect. With many people wondering what causes people to commit such bloody crimes, we must talk about the drives and explanations by these with things like alcohol, drugs, opportunity, and many more. With alcohol evidence suggests alcohol is a stronger driver in countries whose citizens display more dangerous drinking patterns. Unlike drugs, which the main mechanism is to be via distribution that cannot be resolved legally, so individuals and groups resort to violence. But with opportunity, it comes down to the baby boomers generations, which meant more younger people in the population for the homicides rise from 1960 onwards. Increasing female employment meant more people travelling outside of home, but these factors do not correlate with recent trends. With all the information we gathered and seen, we can't determine the true mind as we aren't professionals, but we can understand them to a certain extent and only predict that I feel as time goes on we should finally understand them before they commit any crimes, and hopefully with understanding them we can stop them before they even kill anyone.